House Republicans joining Democrats for a resolution to release all the government files on Jeffrey Epstein. While it's largely a symbolic gesture, it comes as President Trump has tried but mostly failed to dismiss his supporters' fervent interest in the case and what it represents.
The Jeffrey Epstein case has caused backlash within President Trump's base. Some MAGA supporters are upset the Department of Justice closed their investigation last week, fueling conspiracy theories that more details exist but are being hidden from the public.
Joining me now is someone who is asking questions, and he continues to, Congressman Jamie Raskin, Democrat of Maryland, and the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee. He and 15 other committee Democrats have demanded that Attorney General Pam Bondi release any mention of Donald Trump in the Justice Department's files on Jeffrey Epstein. So this has been a strange week. I don't know how else to define it. And you are a part of the story, which is also strange.
Strange July, strange July. Hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy.
You know, I wonder why the Democrats didn't say anything when Biden was in office about the Epstein files being valid. You know what I'm saying? It was always a conspiracy. But now that Trump is in office, and it seems that there is some controversy, especially with his own base. And I talked about this on the last video. I get it. But as some things here that you guys got to understand, because I'm thinking in my head now that this was simply a 4D chess move by Trump, possibly. Because all of the rigmarole, all of the stuff that was going on about Trump, release it by MAGA. And nothing said by the Democrats. And now the Democrats are saying release it. And MAGA is saying release it. It seems like Trump wanted to get everybody saying release it. And now they're going to get exactly what they wanted. My name is DMG. Welcome to the D program. Let's light them up. So the truth seems to be inching itself closer and closer. No matter how much confusion that seems to be trying to stop this Epstein thing, the next step in the process tends to present itself in perfect timing. And I'm talking about the Ghislaine, is it Ghislaine or Ghislaine Maxwell, right? But I'm going to get back to her in a few minutes, right? But there's also a deluge of information that is coming out on different fronts, several different fronts. Trump is now shortening the timeline for Putin to comply with a ceasefire, or he's going to give him tariffs and maybe even sanctions at the same time. Both of them might be coming.
But now they have two courses. Peter Doocy joins us live from the White House with the latest. Peter.
Good morning, and President Trump has realized that 50 days is too many days to give Vladimir Putin to lay down his arms in Ukraine, because Putin is showing that he's just going to pummel the Ukrainians until that deadline. So President Trump is shrinking the timeline.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made. If you know what the answer is going to be, why wait? And it would be sanctions and maybe tariffs, secondary tariffs.
Those secondary tariffs would be on superpowers like China and India and Brazil, who buy things from Russia that Russia then uses to fund its war effort. The word from the Kremlin and Dmitry Medvedev is ominous. Quote, Trump's playing the ultimatum game with Russia, 50 days or 10. He should remember two things. One, Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. 2, each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. The president emphasizes he loves the Russian people, but he's not so interested in talking with Putin anymore.
So you can see Trump is no longer interested in talking. I've heard in the mainstream media, in shows like The View, or what I call The Pew, I've heard different Democrats saying Trump has been soft on Russia. Like Russia wanted Trump to be in office instead of Hillary Clinton. Y'all know about the hoax, that this thing that was going on for so long. And here we are now, and he does not want to talk to Putin anymore. He's considering Putin to be a nice talker, but no action. And in my eyes, it seems like this is coming to a head because Putin is talking back, or whoever that guy was, I forgot his name. But Russia, somewhere in the Kremlin, is talking back saying, don't take the Sleepy Joe road. This could be war with your own country. People, in my mind, there has to be something major has to happen for any type of change, real change, to come about in this world. And listen, I love America. I love America. I love the people in America. I love people everywhere. But all of the things that America has been involved in because of crooked people, not America in itself, like America's inherently evil or something like, no. Listen, is heaven evil? No. Yet we had a rebeller, right? We had a rebellious angel that came against God, and even he had to get thrown out, cast down to the earth. So if there can be a rebeller in heaven, of course there can be rebels right here in the earth, in America. People always say things like America is evil, or other people praising it to a point where, it can't do any wrong. I don't look at it like that. I look at America as any other land. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm talking about the leaders and all of these things that I've been telling you guys over the past few videos. They've got to calm down. I know I sound like a broken record. This stuff has come to a head now. This evil, these things have come to a head now. All of the corruption, the crooked people that's been involved, the leaders that are not leading at all. They're more like tyrants, like hidden tyrants, quiet tyrants that's been over us in such a way where it's so subtle we don't even realize it. And so now these things are being uncovered. Light is coming to the top. Light is starting to crack. The shadow, these cracks, it's like you can see the light coming through the cracks, and it's starting to overcome darkness. And this is what I believe has to happen in order for us to have real change. There's also other things adding to this deluge of information that is coming out, right? And that is the Russia hoax investigation. I believe they're going to be indictments. I believe it's going to go all the way up to Obama, the leader of the nation at the time when this was going on. The Obama nation. We were under an Obama nation. Obama nation. Barack Hussein Obama. Check this out.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor, constitutional law attorney, and a professor at George Washington University. Professor Turley, good to see you. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham on Meet the Press over the weekend, calling for an investigation into the Russia collusion hoax. He details that here.
I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before. At the end of the day, I'm not calling for a prosecution against President Obama for treason, but I am calling for an investigation.
Whoa. Why would you say you're not calling for a prosecution? I mean, for treason against Obama? Why? Why would you say that? You know, Lindsey Graham always comes up short, y'all. He's that Republican that really has been a very, an extremely good professional at skirting the line of Republican and Rhino. Why wouldn't you be able to say that he should be looked into for treason? He just said, well, I'll just say that I'll say he should be investigated. Man, these people have no kahunas.
All right. So where does this go, Jonathan?
Well, it's going to go forward. What the CIA director just said has everyone on a bit of an edge in town, because this is going to be some of the raw data, some of the raw evidence that led to the conclusions of the recently declassified report. And that's going to be rather hard.
You know, I'm sorry. I couldn't let this go, man. Think about this. The administration that Obama was in charge of, I guess, listen, if they had have convicted Trump over this Russia thing, he'd have been in prison for 700 years, man, forever. And you can't say you can go after this guy for treason based on what he did. Trump would have been put away until he rotted in jail. That is enough to say, go after this guy and find out if it was actually treason. The DOJ said it. Tulsi Gabbard said it. Well, if she said it, she has the proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's okay to say it now. These people in Congress and oh my gosh, these people just...
to rebut from many people in Congress and the media. The problem for Democrats and the media is that they're trying to run the same grift on the same marks. I mean, they're trying to tell the public, don't look at this stuff. There's nothing to see here. The public largely rejected that whole pitch when they reelected Donald Trump. And it's not going to really work. I mean, this is very damning stuff. I mean, what was just released, in my view, undermined the testimony of people like John Brennan. But what Radcliffe is talking about is exposing it all to show the public exactly what happened.
That's exactly what needs to happen. All of it needs to come out. Full disclosure. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a shock value. Like, for so long, we haven't had any type of justice. And they say so-called, nobody's above the law. No president is above the law. They were stating this comment all through the Biden presidency or residency. They were stating this comment the whole time. Nobody is above the law about Trump. But here we are talking about Obama, and now everybody's acting like they can't take it all the way to the full max of the law. That's what it should be if nobody's above it. So y'all can see all types of information is coming out, man, in all different sectors of our country, in the media, in the alternative media, which is what I'm a part of, all different types of past scandals, current scandals. All of these things are like converging on each other. It's like the perfect storm. And it's more coming. It's going to be more coming. It's not necessarily bad news. I think it's good news because I think we're getting closer and closer to the final answer. Like I said in the video, it's like a shock value that's going to come. And I think a lot of people don't think we're going to get justice. I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get justice, and people are going to be so surprised that justice actually came. I'm talking about the side who has no justice, the side who, the lawlessness of the other side. I think they're going to be so nuts about this coming out that it's going to be craziness out there in the streets, y'all. I think so. Because we've been bogged down with so much lawlessness, we don't even know what's lawful. And I'm going to say we, because I know, and I believe this audience knows, right? We know what's lawful. We know right from wrong. We know good from evil. But the other side, they don't. They think evil is good and good is evil. So when Obama comes to justice, they're going to think that's evil. They're going to think that's racism because they don't understand anything outside of color for the most part, because that's what they've been pushing. They've been teaching and pushing us on how to use our mind, right? And they've been teaching and pushing us. They have been reprogramming us to look at justice in color. If if they get justice, it's racism. Point blank, period. I'm going to tell you now, man, I'm all blacked out, man. I'm blacked out. I want it to be just plain justice for any color, any person, whether you're powerful or not. The same across the board. How come we all can't see it like that? That's just too easy. That's ABC 1, 2, 3 easy. I don't get it, man. But we're going to get into this last thing. I told you guys that Ghislaine Maxwell is coming out and she's going to be hopefully testifying and bringing about 100 people, man, I hope, out into the light and expose it all. When this happens, I believe that's what's going to bring everything down, because it's going to be probably some powerful people in that disclosure. So here it is. Here's the report. Check it out.
I do want to get right back into our headlines here as we bring you the latest on the files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime accomplice, has been subpoenaed to testify before Congress in just 2 weeks. This comes after the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche conducted a 2-day interview with Maxwell at the federal courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida. Maxwell's attorney says she answered all of Blanche's questions, quote, truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability. She's currently serving out a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted of sex trafficking minors. When asked if Maxwell has asked for a pardon from President Trump, her attorney said this.
You know, we're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
Brief remarks right there. He said, just yet. You'll hear that in quotes. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about all of this. So let's bring in Ronald Chapman II, a federal criminal defense attorney over at Chapman Law Group. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And first off, I do want to ask you about that quote. When he was asked if Ghislaine Maxwell had asked for a pardon from President Trump, the attorney said, quote, not just yet. What does that mean to you in your legal expertise there?
Well, it sounds like a good sign for Maxwell. It seems like something is on the table. And here's how this would work. She sits down for a proffer and provides as much information as she can to the federal government. And they say, hey, let's make a deal. And what's on the table for a deal like that? She has a pending appeal. She's looking for a pardon, looking to get out of prison. And it looks like that is something that's still on the table, provided her cooperation is successful.
So that, you got to listen. That was a major statement. He said, provided that her cooperation is successful. Well, what does that mean? So if there is not enough cooperation, then there's no pardon. Or maybe if there is no list, you know, maybe there's no list or juicy information, there may not be a pardon. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to talk about that and negotiate that from the beginning or whatever, so that they'll know what parameters they need to stay within or cannot go outside of in order for a pardon to be possible. But I mean, is there a chance that there may not be a list? Yeah, there's a chance there may not be a list. And to be honest, I hope there is no list. I mean, because think about it, man. That means everything that we've been thinking about, everything that we've been hearing, even from Pam Bondi, when she said, the list is on my desk. I didn't do an episode about that, but I'm sure you guys heard that in the news. The list is, sitting on my desk, right? Then she came out and tried to clean it up and say some other things. But personally, I hope there is no list, because if there is no list, then there were no clients. And if there were no clients, then there's only one monster, which is, Epstein and his and Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So really, that's what we hope. But if there is a list, then we want these people to come to justice. Like I said, I think all of that's going to be settled from the beginning when they start talking about this. And, they're going to go from there, man. But that's all I got for you guys. But before I go, I want to leave you guys with something. I'm going to pull this up on my phone. Let's get over here. Matthew chapter 18, verse 1 through 6. Y'all check this out. It says here, at the time the disciples came to Jesus saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, truly I say unto you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. It says, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Now, I know there's a lot of people who like to correlate this or compare this to the people, like maybe the children that has been, taken advantage of. And yes, Jesus did call a little boy in the midst of them and start using him as an example. This actual scripture is talking about someone who has caused a little one who believes on him. That means it's a mental thing, right? He's talking about their spiritual acrement. So a little one could be a grown adult, right? Who has just come to Christ. And then someone else causes that person to fall. That's what I believe Jesus Christ was talking about in this particular passage. But I'm saying this, the reason why I went to this scripture is because at the same time, there's a natural and there's also a spiritual message here. The spiritual message is for those people who are just coming to Christ. And we're not to make them stumble, right? And cause them to sin because they've come to Christ, whether he's an adult or a child. But at the same time, Jesus did use a physical child. And I believe he's also talking about naturally. If you cause one of these children to fall, to sin, then you're going to reap the consequences. And in this particular case, it was a millstone tied about a person's neck and thrown into the ocean. Actually, that's not even a consequence. It says it would be better for that person to have a millstone around his neck and thrown into the ocean. He said that would be better. So I'm saying that to let you guys know, whatever comes out, there's going to be dire consequences. And it needs to be in order for it to not happen again, whether it's the children that we're talking about being taken advantage of, unfortunately, or whether we're talking about Obama coming to justice because of his Obamanation when he was in charge of this country, or whether we're talking about Putin or tariffs or whatever it is, all of it. It needs to be brought out, and it needs to have justice attached to it. So if Putin needs to have tariffs and he needs to have, sanctions or whatever placed on him, it needs to happen. Anyway, this is DMG. You guys like, subscribe, comment, and also share this video of the D program. I appreciate you guys plugging in again. My name is DMG. I'll catch you guys on the next. I'm out. Peace.